My name is Omar Martinez. I live in Lanham, Maryland, and my occupation is the Assistant Division Chief for Historic Resources for the Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County.
Outstanding. Would you please tell me a little bit about yourself and your family background?
Sure. I was born in Washington, D.C., raised in Silver Spring, Maryland. My family came to the mainland from Puerto Rico. So my father was recruited to work at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center as an engineer. And he came in '66. Then my mother came in '68, and she had already done 7 years teaching in Puerto Rico and then did 34 years in DC public schools.
All right. And in your opinion, why is this, your family history, important to you, and how has it impacted you on your career path today?
Oh wow, it's impacted me greatly because I know that growing up as a black Puerto Rican in Silver Spring, Maryland was something that was very different. It was a lens that I had that was unique that I didn't fully appreciate as a young person until maybe around high school age. And one of the things that kind of brought it to the surface was when I was a junior in high school and my parents started paying attention to how to prepare me to apply for colleges. You know, obviously I present to most people as just African American, and so and my actual name on my Social Security card is Omar Eaton. It's not Omar Eaton Martinez, right? But in Puerto Rico we hyphenate like regularly, like it's not a big deal. That's part of what we do. And so my parents were like, well, we need to make sure that there's some type of marker so that when you apply for these Latino scholarships, that people can kind of recognize you as Latino without questioning, because obviously they're not going to read you as such. And so I started hyphenating my name, and that action sort of pricked something in me where I was able to start to really dive into my cultural history and also sort of the blackness within Puerto Rico. And I ended up becoming an African American Studies major at University of Maryland College Park, and I wrote a senior paper on the black self-concept in the Puerto Rican community.
Outstanding. Thank you for that. What, in your opinion, is important with regards to voting?
I think voting is important. It allows us to exercise our voice in a way that is clear and consistent. I believe that if there's any bridge to gap right now on voting, it's not necessarily just exercising the right, but taking the time to be an informed voter. I think that we have been in a society where we sort of regurgitate the few things that we see, but we don't dive deeper and we don't interrogate. And so if I'd like to see anything change about voting, it's not the exercise of voting, but it's the exercise of preparing yourself to be an informed voter.
Excellent. And if I could follow that question up with, what are the things, again, in your opinion, that people running for office today in either party should be looking at, and what would you ask them if you could?
I would ask them, how do the policies that you foresee developing and enacting help us see the humanity in one another? Simply put.
Okay. And how do we reach young voters?
Well, you go where they are, you go to the schools, you go to the community centers, you go to the sports leagues. In some cases, you may go to places where they hang out, but I think it's important to give them voice. I think that what I like about the generation right now, the 18 to 25, is that they are taking seriously the future that they have in this country. Reminiscent to what happened maybe 50 years ago, but not exclusionarily so, because I know when I was 18 to 25, that was not 50 years ago, and I cared about the same things, but I think we have a new method of relaying how much we care about what's happening in the future through social media and other mediums that are really powerful and spread the word fast.
Excellent. Is there anything you would like to voluntarily share with regards to voting or your family history at this time?
I would say about my family history, I think it's really important to understand the nuances of being black in America, that it's not just people who may refer to themselves as African American. There are West Indians, there are new immigrants from different countries in Africa, and then there's Afro-Latinos like me who come from the Caribbean and Latin America. And so I would just like for people to think about how those family genealogies work above and beyond the domesticated space of the mainland United States.